And I'm here with Mr. Paul Sandip. We're very proud to have an author from Pune. And I was just going through the list of things which he's done, and the whole podcast would be just his introduction. He's a man of so many hats. So why don't you introduce yourself?
That's
For
a
me,
smart move.
He's the author of I Didn't Say It, a book which is, I'm so curious. I've read a bit of it and I'm so curious to finish it, but a very interesting conversation awaits. So, why don't you tell us something about you, your background?
Yeah, surely. Well, first of all, thank you, Avnish, for having me here. It's a lovely
Pleasure.
space,
Thank you.
wonderful morning, and wonderful setting. I'm glad to be here. Well, now that you've asked me to introduce myself, okay, I'll do it in short. I'm an industrial designer and an innovator,
Right.
and I've been practicing design and innovation for the past 2 decades now. Moved to Pune past 6 years back only. I'm from Calcutta otherwise. I'm alumni of National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad.
Right.
And
Wow.
I've been fortunate enough to create products, innovative products, more than 1,000 products for clients across 20 countries. And been awarded by Shri Narendra Modi ji and the President of Taiwan and many others. So I'll keep it short. But yes, this has been my hobby since I was a child. I used to illustrate and write short stories. It took a backseat when I went to design and I was focusing more on industrial design and innovation. But one thing was very interesting was that all of my innovations were driven by observation.
Right.
And probably because I was inherently a cartoonist, this observation thing came in handy for me. So all my observations were converted into iconic products.
Oh, interesting.
So 20 years after that, uh, last year I decided that why not, bring out a book and compile all those observations, which might, help youngsters trigger their imagination.
Right.
That's what the basic idea behind the book.
Wow. So, I didn't say it.
Yeah.
What is the meaning of I didn't say it?
Yeah, because none of the work you see in the content of the book is imaginary.
It's all your observations
It's
from
all observation.
over the years?
Yes.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
it's actually all of us who have been experiencing it, and we all know that we've been through it. So it's none of my imagination. So I
Right.
didn't say it. मैंने नहीं कहा है.
Right. Acha. So you don't want to take accountability. Well, before we go deep into this, you just mentioned you got an award from the Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi. Can you just elaborate on that? Because that is something which we definitely don't want to just put it in a corner. That deserves a very that deserves space in the conversation. So
Surely.
can you just elaborate
Yeah.
on that?
Well, I was just starting off as a designer, and quite well timed, because at that point in time I had observed again that while we travel in by the railway, Indian railways, we have to use the loo, right?
Right.
In long distance trains, we have to
Right.
use the loo.
Right.
We always found water in abundance, but we never found a mug.
Ah, true.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, now that I think of it, 100%.
So, what my observation was that although there were in some compartments you would find these steel mugs, but they would be chained.
Right.
So, as Indians, we use water to wash after defecation.
Right.
So, you can't access water although it is there.
Right.
So, what do? We normally take plastic cups or paper mugs,
Right.
and cut them off and use it and just throw it. And
Right.
what does that do? It litters the entire railway track.
Mm.
So that was the observation, and the idea which I had proposed to the Indian Railways was that of a disposable toilet mug which folds up and goes into your pocket,
Oh,
and it would cost rupees 5 only,
that's fantastic.
and it could hold actually 1.2 liters of water, and after you've used it you could throw it away, and since it was completely biodegradable, so it would dissolve and get into the earth and not create any pollution or clutter along the track. So that caught the attention, and I was awarded with the Designpreneur award
Wow.
by Shri Narendra
Designpreneur
Modi.
Award.
Yes.
That's fantastic. So small observation while traveling in the railway
Yes.
made you come up with this product. And
Yes.
is it still available? Are they
No,
still
actually,
using it?
as I said, I was starting off
Acha,
my
okay.
career, so I had this opportunity to actually mass manufacture it.
Right.
But at that point in time, I'm talking about 20 years back. He was the chief minister at that point in time of Gujarat.
Okay.
Yes.
Of Gujarat.
So I had the opportunity to produce and get it into production. But since I was a student and getting into the design field, so I didn't have the know-how nor the finances to actually make it
Right.
into a commercial success.
right.
But then it got a lot of attention from an international award called the Index Award in Denmark. And this mug is now displayed in the permanent collection of the museum in Denmark.
Right.
And it's called Design to Improve Life.
Right. Wow. That's a great feat to have. I mean, I'm sure that must have inspired you to go even more further in your
Absolutely.
taking observations of everyday life and
Yes.
converting it or expressing it through some art form, right?
Absolutely.
And this is precisely what this book is all about. And
Yes.
we're going to get straight into what are the contents of this book. Your initial days of writing this. I want to know it all. I want to know what inspired you, your first drafts, the roadblocks which came in your way, and eventually the whole journey part to this and this conversation. And want to know it all. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I've been practicing design through observation. So innovation by observation is my core mantra. That's
Innovation by observation.
Innovation by observation.
Right.
So that is what is a technique. It's a very simple technique which probably I've mastered over 20 years now. And so what I planned was that I actually observe everyday life. I used to observe people in their surroundings. And I'll give you a small example, which is also cited in the book, is that when a freshly mopped floor at your home or your office, primarily in the home setting, your mom would always say, "Don't step on it."
Right.
If it is freshly mopped.
Correct.
Why? Because you leave footprints on it,
Or you would slip.
or you would slip.
Or first was footprint.
Yeah, the first concern is always that it'll leave a footprint.
गंदा हो जाएगा.
गंदा हो जाएगा. कि अभी just पोछा लगा है, गंदा हो जाएगा.
जी.
So now let us analyze this observation. Okay. Now what I've done is I've illustrated a situation where there's a person trying to step onto it. He feels like he's walking on landmine.
Oh yes.
That's the humor of it.
Right.
But if you see the layering of it now, is that if I were an innovator working on a project of, let's say, cleaning liquids, right? So can I design a chemical which would not leave marks,
Someone who walks
onto it? Okay, this could be one trigger.
Right.
Now, what are the other elements in that setting? There's a tile. Now, as a tile company, can I now design a tile which is anti footprint?
Oh, right.
Okay. Now, in that setting, there's also an air conditioner. Most houses have air conditioners in their living area. Let's imagine. Now, as an air conditioner designer, can I design a feature which is like quick dry?
Right.
So there could be many such
Very interesting.
triggers.
So you already spoke about 3 businesses.
Yes.
Basis 1 observation. Wow, that is fantastic.
So
is this a part of design thinking? I mean, I'm just
absolutely
taking a side conversation, and we'll come to that. But design thinking, I think, comes from innovation, from observation.
Absolutely.
And trying to make things simple.
Yes.
Right? Application of it.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, sorry, go on.
Yeah. See, now this brings me this idea of, see, I've been talking about design thinking, innovation in the design circuit.
Right.
The primary objective of creating this content was to expand my circle of influence. That beyond design and design janta, others who are design aspirants or not even aware of this profession, through this they could get to know that, okay, this is something worth pursuing.
Right. That way.
You see so many startups. The startup culture is so much booming in the Indian context.
Right.
And if you're an entrepreneur, just pick this up. It's a gold mine for you to,
Right.
because these are all problems which have been identified,
which
and there's
can
a
be solved,
which
and
can
they
be
need the
solved
solution.
and needs a
Fantastic.
solution.
But that's more for the entrepreneurial startup design audience.
Yes.
What about a common man?
Common man, it is pure humor.
Pure humor.
Yes. So this book
The
is layered.
relatability of
Yes.
I in my childhood walked like that when
Exactly.
the floor was wet.
Exactly.
And it kind of dives a little, like you go nostalgic, you go back
Yes.
in time.
Yes.
You kind of relive that moment, so
Yes.
to speak.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
fantastic.
And the beauty of relatability is something which I try to emphasize through my work. Is that when you relate to something, you really get attached to it.
Right. That's
You
an
would
interesting thought.
you will get hooked to a book if the thoughts resonate with your personal thoughts.
Understood. So you've kind of created a bunch of things which are a part of everyday life, and whoever has to relate to it relates to it, and
Yes,
then they
and
go back in time.
yeah, and since you asked about the roadblock, I think the first thing which came to my mind was that I was not able to position the book in a specific genre, because this isn't a design book. This isn't a comic book.
Right. It's right in the middle of it.
Exactly, because it's humor and
So
innovation.
what do you call it? Like, what genre does this come under?
I don't know. I'm still figuring out. That's for the readers to figure out and tell me.
Interesting task for whoever is listening to figure out a genre for this beautiful book. But it would be, is it like has a spiritual angle to it, a philosophical angle to it?
Not spiritual,
those
but
lines?
yes, philosophical. Yes,
Right.
philosophical. Yes, I talk a lot about superstitions as well through this book. Andhavishwas and certain things, and
Right.
trying to look at it in a very light-hearted way,
Right.
and like someone wearing a nimbu mirchi ka jhumka,
Right.
so that buri nazar na lage.
Correct. Or yeah, I mean, now that I'm thinking, like it's so evident now.
अगर हम बाकी जगह लगा सकते हैं नींबू मिर्ची,
तो हम भी पहन सकते हैं, उसका माला भी पहन सकते हैं, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? वैसे correct. Very interesting. So that was your biggest roadblock to kind of understand how to position it.
Yes.
So how did you?
No, I'm still
mind
figuring out,
for
because recently the volume 1 actually was awarded with the Literary Awards 2025
Oh,
by
lovely.
the Rise Inside.
This one?
Yes.
Oh.
And they put it into the humor category.
Right.
So I'm fine with it.
You're fine with it?
I'm fine with it so far.
But do you get that feedback from your readers that definitely fits the category, or definitely made me laugh, or made me go back in time? Like it's such a wholesome feeling when you
Yes.
relate. As you said, relatability is so important.
Yes.
But since it's humor,
Yes.
does that validate it in within you that okay, fine, you know what, at least I had a little inclination of putting it in humor, so let's tick that box.
See, I believe in that we need to live life, we have to tread lightly. We
Right.
don't have to take things seriously.
Right.
Right. So, although the messages are very deep, but it's very light-hearted way it has been portrayed in such a manner. It's not like heavy-duty reading, or it's very satirical at times. It's pure humor. So, and the biggest feedback which I have received was that even a 8-year-old is enjoying.
Wow.
And an 8-year-old.
So 8 to 80 is your audience.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Because the
That's such
80-year-old is actually finding nostalgia.
Right.
The 8-year-old is finding humor, and the ones in between are seeing things which they might expect in near future.
Right. So
That
it's
okay, I
quite
could
a diverse-
experience this. Yes.
Oh, lovely.
Yes.
So that must be a very gratifying feeling.
Yes, because I think all that I've done was also observations while I was growing up.
Right.
So these observations are not that done yesterday and today into a book.
Right.
It's been over my entire, breathing life.
Understood. So this was one hurdle, and I'm sure this would be another one wherein you have so many observations. How do you put all of it in one book?
No, so I'm planning to do a series.
Oh, you're doing a series.
So this is volume 1.
Right.
This is volume 2. And I'm
now
already
you
working
have
on volume 3. Yeah, because I can't stop myself from, capturing.
No, but
those thoughts.
was that a little bit of a loophole, like a writer's block? Like sometimes I see a lot of people having the ideas, but they don't know how to put it together, how to create the frameworks, to write something, to articulate it, you always get lost in this loop of, I want to be a perfectionist, I want to, and people don't go through the motion. So is that something which you also faced while doing this?
So I'll tell you, if you want to write because you want to sell books, you'll have this block. Because then you're trying to figure out ये बिकेगा क्या.
तो आउटकम सोचना नहीं चाहिए,
नहीं चाहिए,
बस जीना चाहिए, वो
जीना
moment.
चाहिए.
अच्छा.
Exactly, because if I had thought that if I start with thinking that who will actually relate to this book, I might not have started even or even got into this. Because then that only question that who is my audience would have caught me there.
Right.
I wouldn't have moved ahead of that.
Right.
I didn't think of it. I thought, let me put it out and let the world get back to me,
Right.
whether they appreciate it or not.
Right.
And
but then how do you manage the expectation of also selling it? So we are always like, this is the ideal way to look at it. Everyone should look at it like,
Yes.
you do it for yourself, do it
Yes.
for the love of it.
Yes.
But at some point it has to also make commercial sense.
Yes.
Did that play in any of the process? Because at the end of the book has to be sold.
Yes.
It has to reach the people.
Yes.
And there are certain tools to do it.
Yes.
Right? You can always keep a book in your house.
Yes.
And not sell it on Amazon. Amazon becomes a platform to reach 1 million people.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, it's also something which you need from a commercial angle, right?
Yes.
So did that part come at some point?
It came once the book was ready.
Okay. So you first
Let it out. Yes.
without thinking about the outcome.
Yes.
And then once you were satisfied with it, came,
Exactly.
okay, now what do I do with it? I think that's a very important insight. A lot of people get stuck because of that.
Then how do I sell? You don't start with how do I sell. First create quality content and then figure out how to sell. And take it slow. Take it slow. And I learned all the tricks by myself. Like I learned how to have my Amazon listing and all of that, and it's selling on Amazon. It's available on various other platforms as well. And in fact, over the past couple of months, it has reached out to you name any library of NIFT, NID, IIT. They're all having this book in their library for their students and faculty.
Oh, lovely.
And and although I had given 3 TED Talks before publishing this book, but I always, back of my mind, I had a dream that one day I would talk about my book, at a TED Talk platform.
Right.
And it just happened after I had released the first volume.
Right.
I got an opportunity,
Oh,
and I
lovely.
actually lived my dream.
Lovely.
So
what a feeling.
Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps while I talk to you because I never imagine, I don't have a goal in life. I'm just doing things because I love doing it. And I'm seeing that I'm getting very good response through it, and I'm living it.
So you put passion out.
Yeah,
and
it reciprocates. People reciprocate. Yes.
But is that a fallacy? I mean, on the contrary, so many people want to be strategic, want to think of how the outcome will be, and some people get success that way also. But I see a lot of people stuck between which direction to take, and especially for something like writing a book, because there are so many nuances, publisher, distribution, you got to do marketing, you got to content, you got to have conversations. As you said, you got to be relatable to your audience.
Yes.
And the fight to be relatable to sell this is always on. So
yes.
I think this would definitely encourage me and whoever is listening to be able to create first.
Yes.
And once you are satisfied with your creation, put it out in the universe and let them respond the way they have to.
Yes.
I think that's the only mantra which we can really follow. और क्या ही कर सकते हैं?
और क्या ही कर सकते हैं? It is so uncertain. We live in uncertainty.
कुछ नहीं कर सकते हैं. कुछ नहीं कर सकते.
The best we can do is put our best foot forward, and I got success with volume 1, and that's why the volume 2 is there.
And now the sky is the limit.
Yes.
Observation तो खत्म ही नहीं होंगे.
Exactly.
Books तो on होंगे. Nice, very interesting. So volume 1 and volume 2 are the same, or is there a difference between, or it's just an extension of?
It's just an extension so far, but I don't know what's in future. Volume 1 also has observations about product fallacies and how products could be improved. Volume 2 also has some of it.
Right.
There are philosophical notes also in volume 1. Volume 2 also
Right.
has it.
Right.
Let's see how Volume 3 pans out.
Right.
Because as I said, I don't want to start with thinking that will it sell
Will
or
it
not.
sell? Or you're back to the
I'm
drawing
back to
board.
the. I have to again, get back fresh and create the content. And there's so many observations, and I feel so many ideas come up while observing things.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to talk about design and innovation in the Indian context. We've got so many examples from products and innovations happening abroad,
Yes.
but India should also be put forth in the global map of design and innovation,
Right.
and that's what
I think we have so many stories, and now they're coming out in a very big way.
Yes.
I mean, platforms like Shark Tank
Exactly.
are fantastic, right? They are
Exactly.
absolutely giving everyone an opportunity to tell their story,
Yes.
and people are getting inspired.
Inspired.
By it,
That's
so,
most important.
do you think someone like an author could go on a Shark Tank?
Why not? In fact, Suhasini was telling me the other day, why don't you? I said, well, it doesn't make
I mean,
business sense
interesting,
at this
right?
point.
No,
but I don't know.
Why not? Why not have a shark invest in a concept of something like this? Like, we always like this also solves something in society, right? This is
Yes,
also
it
going to
does.
sell, right? This is
Yes.
also a product at some point, right?
Yes.
It is also going to impact people, empower people, right?
Yes. Yes.
Maybe you can have 3 volumes and pitch it to one of the sharks. I'm sure you'll get a good deal, and I'm sure it will be something.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, I am also observing. I'm also verbally telling you about about my observation. Little break. And I would love to say that he had coffee, but he's not. I had my coffee, but yeah, continue. नहीं, वो तो coffee पियेंगे. But continuing, so we spoke about the hurdles. We spoke about the approach you took. We spoke about the fact that you know you have to put everything first, finish everything, and then think of the other nuances. Let's get deeper into the book, and let's try
Surely.
to understand your favorite parts, some
Surely.
key things which you really want people to know.
Yes.
And you spoke about the audience, which is from an 8-year-old to an 80-year-old.
Yes.
What are the relevant things in this book here?
Yeah. Okay. So let me just. Okay, look. We could talk about this one. If you see, this is the black cat.
I'll read it out for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me show this. It's an image of a cat, and it says, "I can do what a red light at the traffic signal can't." What a straight up relatable thing. Like amazing. Indians have a superstition that if a cat walks across our path, we must stop, wait for a while, and then move on. How does the cat know? How does the cat know?
That's for the cat and the audience to figure out.
So this, I think every Indian will relate to this. And
Exactly.
they will have a laugh just like how
We don't
I
stop
do.
at a red light, but अगर बिल्ली गुजर जाए तो हम रुक जाए. I'll show you another one. Okay.
Why don't they keep waiting chairs for husbands? Ah, this is at a shopping mall.
Yes.
Because sitting encourages thinking, and that might lead to questioning whether you really need that impulse purchase. Well, today everyone shops. But I get it. I mean, so many people can relate that, we have to accompany and then,
There's no waiting
sit.
area, and there's no.
well, you'll be surprised. Today, it could be the other way also. Like, men love to shop.
Yeah, it could
and
be.
There
Yeah.
would be nothing for women. So, or both of them love to shop. So maybe
Yes.
interesting. What can an 8-year-old relate
Okay,
to?
I'll pick that out. I think. Okay, let's take this.
Ma'am, why do we have to memorize state capitals? Can't we just ask Google? The timeless charm of a school syllabi, meticulously curated to prepare students for a future where memorizing the state capitals is a crucial life skill, while practical knowledge and critical thinking tiptoe out of the back door, unseen and unmissed. Very relevant. But then,
Well, this is not for the 8-year-old.
I
This is
know.
for the parent or the other one.
Parent to kind of, feel and communicate
Exactly,
that.
exactly. So
Right,
it's a conversation starter between your kid and the parent
right,
also.
right,
Like I'll take another example. At times when I write, I also think like an 8-year-old.
right.
Like for example, um, okay. Now this is a 8-year-old asking the parent.
Why is penguin our garbage bin? Oh yes, in parks we've seen all of that. Interesting. Because nothing says environmental conservation like animal-shaped garbage bins in the park consuming human trash. You need natural habitats when you can have wildlife feasting on our discarded food wrappers and soda cans. So you've actually given the message out saying that animals are representation of them being endangered
Yes.
because of the ecosystem.
Yes.
So that's the reason why they are as metaphors,
Yes.
as dustbins.
Yes.
Fantastic. I think you could create something very unique for kids. Through the same lessons which are taught in primary or in school,
Yes.
done in a very different way, done with powerful visuals, done with like when I saw this, it straight took me to Kamla Nehru Park. ठीक है, I remember there is a penguin जिसका मुंह इतना बड़ा है,
Exactly.
and सही में यार why
Why?
मैंने भी सोचा नहीं था. Very interesting. So this is quite diverse. So from penguins used as dustbins to why like the cat having the power to stop people which a red light can't,
Yes.
to I will let's read one more.
Okay, which one have you picked? Okay.
I will put the blame on the intern this time. It's a picture of a. I think everyone will relate. It's a picture of a manager who's reading a report and he's not really happy with the report. And we all have done this. So the quote is: "If you can smile when things go wrong, you have someone in mind to blame." How true! This is straight out of a corporate scene. Interesting. So, what is your best? If I had to pick out one, if you had to pick out one, your favorite observation in this,
Okay.
or something which you really like, if people had like 2 minutes to glance through this, what would you want them to read?
I think the first page.
The first page?
Yes,
Okay,
the first
let's-
illustration.
So it's a tiger reserve, and the tiger says, "Isn't this place reserved for us?" No, it's not. The tiger is an object, and people are, entertaining themselves
Yes.
and clicking your pictures and making money out of it.
Yes.
So the quote is: "In the silence of the tiger reserve forest, humanity's footprint roars louder than the elusive predator's growl." Wow. Humanity's footprint roars louder. I really like this line. I think it's not just for the tiger reserve. I think I can feel it in so many aspects
Yes.
of life wherein nature doesn't have words to talk like
Yes.
speak, right?
Yes.
So we are always meddling within nature because there is no feedback. Of
Yes.
course, there is feedback in other ways.
Other ways.
जो हमारे समझ के beyond है.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, I mean, humanity's footprints roar louder. Very interesting.
There are many such illustrations which talk about animals and birds, and I'm trying to voice their thoughts.
That's an interesting take. Like, give me an example. And why animals and birds? Why
not?
wildlife?
Why not? Why not? See, every joke has a victim. Every joke has a victim, and I'm carefully picking and choosing whom to victimize.
That way.
And most of what we are doing through this book is we are finding the flaws in ourselves.
Right.
It's time for us to reflect.
Right.
right? So this is what I'm trying to do through this book as well.
Right.
That although this might come across as a plain humor, but on a second read or a third read,
So
this will
hence I
sink
said,
in.
does it have a little bit of a spiritual angle to it?
I
Because,
didn't want to talk about it. I just
but it
wanted to
is
sink in. Yeah, I want people to feel it.
if I am reading this book the way it is,
Yes.
I mean, for me this is like, oh, ये तो देखा है, ये तो पढ़ा है, ये. But like, the line which I read right now, like, humanity's footprint roars louder. It just makes me feel that how we are spoiling everything around, and getting deeper, like especially with the whole nature and ecosystem and so on and so forth.
Yes.
So I feel that, I think there is a spiritual angle to it. Maybe after 5 reads people will really sink into it.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, fantastic, I think.
Okay, now let's see this.
This everyone will relate to. There's a picture of a dog, and a guy is peeing, and the dog is saying, "When will men learn civic sense?" Will we? Civic sense is as uncommon as common sense these days. So true. So true. So these are like power lines. Huh? These are lines which advertisers would
Yeah.
take, and like Amul.
Huh.
Have you seen Amul ad? Of course you have
Yes,
seen,
yes,
right?
yes, of course.
This is what it is.
Yes,
They come out with such clever copy, and copy which stays.
Yes.
It doesn't. It's not something in passing. So
Yes.
I think
As I said, it's meant to trigger your imagination. And
it's so nice, and with design thinking, the simplicity of it is the most impactful.
yes.
Because I would read Stoicism or Seneca, and it's also very simple yet complex. But sometimes something as simple as this makes me go to the same direction of thinking inwards. Thinking about
Absolutely.
life, thinking about so many aspects, right? So
See, it's all distilled. So I've been distilling my thoughts into one-liners. And the beauty of this is because I'll tell you the backstory. Why one-liners? As I said, I started off as writing short stories, but I couldn't find much time when I was doing my engineering,
Right.
and I started doing a pocket column.
Right.
And in a pocket column, you can write only one line,
right.
and that one line has to convey the entire message.
You spoke about a lot of observation, and this is something which we also deeply resonate at Bookbar. In a cafe, if you realize, if you spend a day in a cafe, there are so many things which happen.
Yes.
And if only one is observant, not only to the outside world, but also what is happening inside. The inside observation is also very important.
Yes.
Right? It is very nuanced.
Yes.
And that's where, a space like a cafe makes a lot of sense. And what we like to embody a philosophy at Bookbar called as slow living, where you sit by yourself with your thoughts, with your work, have a nice cup of coffee, be surrounded by books and wealth of information, and just observe life. Observe every table, observe the movement of human beings. This is what we also embody. So it is very close to your philosophy.
Exactly.
And I would love to know your observations about the place.
I think the first observation was that you very well, spaced out and created different zones.
Right.
Like this has a different feeling to it. There's an outdoor sitting, and there's another outdoor
Correct.
sitting.
Correct.
So there are 3 zones as I can see.
Yes.
And I think that's very well designed and planned. And as I said, as I entered in the morning, I loved the vibe of it. And I'm sure if I spend more time here, I'm going to get my content out of this place.
I would love to know your observations, a day in a life at Bookbar. From morning to evening, what are the things which you observe, and what are the things can be curated
Yes.
in a cafe?
Yes.
From human beings to coffee to the server to the leaves falling to the sunlight to the colors to to the rats going somewhere here and there to whatever happens, right? It's such a nice hustle and bustle, so to speak.
Exactly.
So I'm glad that you find this place close to, in terms of like how well it is laid out and how well it's designed. And
So, what's the response?
Well, I'm thankful that it has got really good response. In fact, couple of weeks back, it hit the number 19 bestseller rank on Amazon.
What?
Yes.
Wow. That's
So you were asking me
amazing.
that about the the sales and all of that, and I had no plans of like formally doing it all of it. But yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised and
Number
I'm all
19.
kicked. Yes.
Wow. I hope it rushes to number 1 very soon.
Yes.
And
All fingers crossed.
fantastic. So, and what about the feedback? Like, what are people responding?
Yeah, as I said, people are responding. Like there was one very interesting response with that from a gentleman who said, "I don't like to read books because I don't have so much time, and this is like a film book.
Right.
So in 15-20 minutes straight, I can just flip through it
Right.
and then get back to one page and ponder upon it later.
Right.
So I can start at any page, anytime."
Fantastic.
This is a very interesting feedback which I got.
It is. I mean, really, no one has time today.
You're not obliged to
This is
finish
a
the book.
truncated version of a lifetime of observation, and
Yes.
you can finish this in maybe 2 hours,
Yes.
and you can keep rereading it. It's like one of your favorite shows on Netflix. Like you like Friends, for example.
Exactly.
आप कोई भी एपिसोड देखो, कभी भी देखो,
बिल्कुल.
वो familiarity है, वो
Exactly.
nostalgic है, तो आपको comfort होता है. So it's probably
comforting.
similar. Like
It's
open any page, अरे ये तो देखा है, but again, I don't mind reading something which is very comforting, very familiar.
Yes.
So fantastic number
And
19 on Amazon.
Yeah, thank you.
Huh?
And people
Really
are
good.
also saying that it's a very good conversation between their kids, parents and kids.
Right.
They're also getting a topic to discuss upon.
Did you have this in mind when you were writing?
Why?
Or this is something which you discovered?
I discovered that there's a lady who said that my 8-year-old picked up and showed me that why do you want me to memorize?
Right.
From that example.
Oh, lovely. So it truly has cut across
Yes.
genres and different situations of life. Fantastic. So, lastly, I think it's important to also talk to upcoming authors, people in the community, designers, people who are into design thinking. As you said rightly, this is just a book, but there are so many other things around it which one can figure out and one can go and introspect. What some parting thoughts for all of these people who are going to look at you and listen to you?
I think let's not chase what the so-called success looks like. There's a lot of grind one has to go through. So let's focus and enjoy the grind, and success will come automatically. So let's not focus and try to strategize the path to success.
Right.
Let us enjoy when it comes,
Right.
and let's work and really work hard towards it.
Right. But no shortcuts.
No shortcuts.
No escaping the grind.
No escaping the
A
grind.
lot of people think that I can do it very quickly and then it doesn't come. They will be like, oh, I am not strategizing anything. But because today the world of social media and Instagram and all that, everyone wants quick success. There's so much comparison.
Yes.
You have to put in the hours. You have to be true to yourself.
Yes.
You have to do whatever it takes. There are no shortcuts.
There are no
right?
shortcuts.
I mean, manifestation is one part of it, but manifestation without the hard work
Yes.
has no meaning.
No meaning at all.
So I think this is an important lesson to everyone.
Yes.
I have taken some very key takebacks from this. I love the fact that observation, innovation via observation. I definitely feel there is some sort of spiritual angle to this. I'm going to deep dive into it again and just try to go back to childhood and place myself in these situations and just look at it from a different angle.
Yes.
And I think you said it all.
I didn't say it.
You said it all, and thank you so much for having this conversation, for coming to Bookbar. We are truly privileged and honored to have a number 19th on Amazon, and someone from Pune, and someone who has inspired me in this conversation, and I'm sure a lot of you. And we'll do this again when you do volume 3. We'll do a series.
Sure.